This is absolutely wild to me. A few weeks ago, 2 lawyers filed a brief with the US Court of Appeals. Yeah, like pretty important court. Inside that brief were cases that didn't exist. I'm not talking about misquoted cases or outdated cases. I'm talking about cases that were 100% completely fictitious. Fabricated citations and false statements were presented to a freaking federal judge with total confidence. Any guesses on how that could have happened? Yeah, I'll take AI hallucinations for 1,000, Alex. And as you might have guessed, the federal court was not impressed. Both lawyers were fined $2,500. I know, that's it. They were suspended from practicing at the appeals court for 6 months. Okay, that's more like it. And they were ordered to disclose AI use in every single filing for the next 2 years. Or how about just don't use it? Now, these lawyers were not interns or students or new to the field. They were licensed, seasoned attorneys. I'm talking about professionals whose entire careers are built on the accuracy of their words and statements. And even they fell into the trap of trusting a generative large language model more than their own judgment. Now, I've been thinking about this story and so many others like it lately, not only because what those lawyers did was wrong, obviously, but because it reveals a really slippery slope that honestly, we are all at risk at falling down if we're not careful. I recently received a comment on one of my LinkedIn posts that made me realize maybe I have not been clear enough about where I stand when it comes to AI use. So someone left this comment. It's hard to keep up with your flip-flopping on AI. Sometimes you criticize it and other times you promote it for copywriting. Do I? Okay, so if you're new around here or you haven't watched much of my content around AI, I totally get it, right? At face value, you have heard me say things like AI cannot replace copywriters. AI generated content sucks. AI is making marketers lazy. And yes, I believe all of those things. But then you also see that I released a free AI prompts guide. You see me create an AI mini course. You see me promoting AI prompts and integrations inside some of my programs. So which is it? Am I anti-AI or pro-AI? Have I changed my mind? Am I flip-flopping? Today, I want to address that once and for all in case there was any confusion. And then I'm going to share with you the 3 things I will never, ever, ever use AI for. Now, my position on AI has actually never changed, like not even a little bit. I posted my first video on AI back on June 24th, 2020. Yeah, 6 freaking years ago and 2 whole years before ChatGPT launched to the public. And I still stand by what I said in that video 100%. AI is a tool, not a takeover, and will never fully replace copywriters. My opinion on that has not changed. And let me be really clear. I wish AI didn't exist. Seriously, I wish it did not exist. I wish we could put the genie back in the bottle and that we could all just go back to using our freaking brains to solve problems. Tell me I am not the only one. Yeah, but the fact is the genie cannot be put back in the bottle. AI is here. It is here to stay. We are never going back to the reality where it didn't exist, as sad as that is. I know, I am like totally missing the old nostalgic vibes of pen and paper and analog everything, and I try to do as much of that as I can in my personal life and when I'm offline. But if you run a business and you are on the internet, AI is everywhere. It is all anyone is talking about, and it is already so integrated into every single system and tool we use, so we might as well figure out how to use it the right way. In fact, according to Microsoft's Work Trend Index, 75% of knowledge workers are already using AI at work. That's 3 out of every 4 people. And that report is from 2024, so you can be certain that number is a lot higher now. And yes, like you, I have extremely complicated emotions about all of it. As an artist, as a creator, I hate it. I criticize it for all the wrong ways it's being used. And I can also see some really powerful use cases for it, both globally and day-to-day within your business. Like most complicated conversations, it is nuanced and requires critical thinking to discern the right way to use it. But unfortunately, most humans have the natural tendency to want to categorize people, ideas, and experiences into 2 distinct buckets. Right or wrong, good or bad, success or failure, pro or anti, us versus them. This sort of categorical thinking isn't always a bad thing. I mean, it's how our brains process information efficiently. The problem arises when these categories become rigid or oversimplified, like in the case of being pro-AI or anti-AI. Pro-AI is like, yes, use it for everything. Let it write, let it think, let it create, let it make all decisions for you. Or anti-AI, reject AI entirely, pretend it doesn't exist, never use it, it is bad. Now, of course, the reality for most things is usually somewhere in the gray area. And it's our responsibility as writers, creatives, and business owners to discern where we fall on that light gray to dark gray spectrum and create our own guidelines for how we will use it and how we will not use it, and then communicate that with our customers and clients clearly, especially as we wait for legislation to catch up. And it is kind of a moral question. What do you feel comfortable with? How do you feel comfortable using AI in your day-to-day work? So here is how I use AI. I treat it like a really fast but kind of stupid assistant. Seriously, I don't trust anything it says, but I use it to speed up internal back-end processes. I mean, it is really good at spotting gaps or recognizing patterns. I mean, that is exactly what a large language model does. So if you use it for those things, it's actually pretty good at it. So personally, I like to use it for things like drafting internal documents like SOPs or meeting summaries or project briefs, outlining content, presentations, or frameworks based on my existing content, brainstorming hooks or angles or story ideas or copy concepts, research, of course, with heavy fact checking, repurposing my content without changing any of my words. So for example, I will repurpose this YouTube script into a blog post without changing anything but the necessary pieces to make a video script an actual blog post that people read. I'll use it to analyze data. It is really great at that. Or automate workflows and marketing admin, like setting up split tests. And I'll use it to search and source from internal knowledge bases. So I have uploaded all of my internal frameworks and processes into AI. And if I'm ever looking for anything, all I have to do is ask it a simple question and boom, there it is. But notice what was not on that list. Write me a sales page. Write me an email, write me a YouTube script, respond to my customer, create an image of me, make me a video, clone my voice. Honestly, using AI for these reasons, it isn't even new or novel anymore. I mean, that's what people were trying to do back in 2023, and I think we all saw how that turned out. It's not exciting, it's not interesting, everyone is doing it, and there are far better use cases for AI in your business that don't even see the light of day, don't even interact with your customers, but still make your processes so much easier. We actually have a very clear AI policy here at the Copy Posse, and it's actually gotten more strict over time, not less. So my hard line in the sand is this: we will never use AI to create content, write copy, or communicate with our customers. Now, I call these the 3 touch points of trust, because if you think about it, if you have any sort of business, these are the only 3 ways to build trust with your audience. The only 3 ways. So let's talk about the first touch point: content. This is anything that we publish online, from social media captions to the scripts for YouTube videos like this, landing page copy, sales page copy, website copy, ad copy, courses and curriculum. Anything we publish under our name was created and written by a human. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't utilize AI to help us brainstorm our content or outline our ideas. It just means that the actual writing and production of our content is done by a human, period. And we will never, ever use AI to create images, audio, or video of me to try to convince my audience that it is in fact me, because that is a really fast way to break trust. But also, we believe that relying on AI to do your creative work or communicate for you is one of the fastest ways to become average. And average is a very dangerous place to be right now. All right, trust touch point number 2 is communication. So this is anything that we send to our audience. So think of things like emails and Instagram DMs. Now, notice the distinction here. We might use a tool to automate the sending of a message, right? Using a tool like ManyChat on social media, or setting up an automation for a day 0 autoresponder to be sent after someone signs up for a lead magnet. But once again, the words are always written by a human. And the third trust touch point is, of course, customer service. This includes any one-on-one DMs or email communications with our customers or our followers or subscribers. When a student emails customer support, a real Copy Posse customer support person writes back to them. Yeah. Her name is Becca. And anywhere where we do utilize AI within any of these touch points of trust, say to deliver faster support and resources to our audience, we are 100% transparent about it, so they always know when they're talking to a human versus talking to AI. So for example, in my Launchpad program, among many others, we created an AI assistant that is trained on all of my Launchpad concepts and frameworks. Now, there are hours and hours of video training that this AI assistant has been trained with. So if my students have a quick question, or they're trying to find something quickly, they can ask the assistant and get an answer in like 5 seconds rather than needing to wait for a response from my team. But of course, emailing my team is always and always will be an option. It's transparent, it's fast, and it's genuinely helpful. So that's how I use AI. And I know my AI policy is stricter than most online marketing companies, but here's the way that I see it, right? Trust is the one thing that AI cannot manufacture. And if these are the only 3 ways to build trust with your audience, it is a really slippery slope to start replacing these touch points with AI. Like once you replace all of those with AI, what do you have left, right? So instead, use AI to streamline your backend systems, the processes that never interact with your audience, say front of house, and for the love of God, fact check absolutely everything because AI is 100% lying to you. And that brings me back to those 2 lawyers we were talking about. Because honestly, I don't think their mistake was using AI in the first place. If they wanted to use it to do some research, okay, fine, right? Their mistake was blindly trusting a robot, a large language model. They got the output, they trusted it without even verifying or fact checking. And then, to make matters worse, they submitted it to a federal court judge. That is the problem. According to Microsoft's latest AI research, as AI gets better at processing information and completing tasks, human value is going to shift towards something else entirely: decision-making, evaluation, creative thinking, and leadership. In other words, the future doesn't belong to the person with the best AI prompts. Honestly, AI prompts feels like so last season to me now, right? The future belongs to the person with the best judgment, the person who knows which ideas to pursue and which ideas to ignore, which suggestions to implement, which risks to take, which direction to go. These are the high-level decisions that we need to make sure we're protecting as humans. In a world where everyone has access to the same AI tools, discernment becomes the ultimate differentiator. So no, I'm not completely anti-AI, and no, I'm not completely pro-AI either. I'm not flip-flopping on my stance. I am pro-human. I am pro-creativity. I am pro-critical thinking. I am pro-good judgment. So I am so curious to know, what is your position on AI? Drop it in the comments below. Give me a thumbs up if you would like me to do a future video on some of the more practical back-end ways that I use AI to streamline my processes. And I will see you next week with a brand new video. Until then, I'm Alex. Ciao for now. Before you go, if you like that video, make sure to check out this one next. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you slowed down and stopped and took a good hard look at your business, like from the outside? No, not your to-do list, not your content calendar, not even your open rates or how many